work hard, you can do well enough to raise a family and own a home, send your own kids to college, put a little away for retirement. That American dream is within your reach.
Question is, are you better off since he took office? Good morning, Paul Lindman, Scott Lind, the morning update for Thursday. Article online, Bloomberg.com, caught our attention. More Americans than not say they're better off since Obama took office. Let's catch up with the guy who brought that information forward. Bloomberg's David Lynch wrote an article about this new survey. Headline says that, David, but what do the numbers show specifically? This is rather surprising.
Well, it's kind of surprising result, I think, from our latest poll, which found that by a plurality, 45% to 36%, Americans say they're better off now than they were in January of 2009. That does seem sort of surprising given how bad the economic and market news has been in recent weeks, and we point that out. But what I think lends some credence to it is that it does reflect a continuing trend. In March, we asked this question, and folks were split about evenly, 38 to 36. In September, it was much more negative. Only 27% said better off, 44% said worse off. So that better off percentage has now clocked up from 27% in September, 38% in March, and now 45%, which does suggest that something is going on out there.
Well, how do you explain the trend? Because as you point out, if we look at specific data, industrial production, consumer confidence, jobless claims, retail sales, they all show a weakening economy. So how could we possibly explain this result?
Yeah, I'll tell you, as I said, I found it surprising, and I called it unlikely in the story. The only bit of good news, and this tends to have an outsized impact on public sentiment on the way up and the way down, is gas prices. And gas prices, which there was a lot of concern about, just a few months back, people were talking about $5 a gallon gas this summer. Instead, gas prices peaked in early April, right after our last poll, at about $3.94 a gallon. They're down to about $3.50 now. And as I say, gas prices are something that people really fasten on. They see it every day. Every time they drive to the corner, the price is right there in front of them. And so this might have something to do with it. I don't know if that's enough to explain the whole movement, but something is happening out there.
Yeah, David, as you reported, there are hints of unease in these findings. Fewer Americans are hopeful of improvement in the economy.
Yeah, and I read that potentially as a reaction to all the bad news coming out of Europe. Certainly, this poll was taken just June 15th to 18th, a few days back. And, the headlines have been dominated by worry over what's going to happen in the Eurozone, the possibility of another really major financial crisis there that would wash up on our shores. And so that's the kind of thing that I think could well explain some of that concern.
Are you fearful that we're becoming over-polled? I mean, I suspect there are people who would tell me today, well, I can go out and get a poll that shows me just about anything I want or proves my political point as well.
Personally, yes. I tell people, and I've had an inbox full of messages from people this morning complaining about the poll, and I tell them, I'm from Connecticut, and I say, look, this is like the weather in New England. If you don't like this poll, wait 15 minutes. There'll be a new one coming along that you probably will like.
I know when you do such polls, you pick up comments from those who've taken the poll. What would be significant among the ones you're aware of?
Well, I ended the story with a comment from a young guy out in Pennsylvania who said, things are getting better. He said they're not getting better quickly, but they're getting better. And I think that is in keeping with the overall broad macroeconomic story, which is still, it's a recovery. It's not a very impressive recovery. It doesn't make people feel very good. It's an economy growing at maybe 2% a year. That's nothing to write home about, but it is better than the disaster we had a couple of years ago.
David Lynch, you can read his piece at Bloomberg.com. David, thank you very much for talking to us again.
Happy to do it.